The final season of Squid Game left fans confused and disappointed. But this wasn't just bad writing, it was a collapse of a creator pushed far past his limits. The creator of Squid Game, Hwang Dong-hyuk, lost teeth, he lost weight, he nearly broke down. In this video, we'll uncover the real reasons behind the show's decline, the original ending that never made it to the screen, and more. Hwang Dong-hyuk is the writer and director of Squid Game. With Season 3, it marks the conclusion of his 6-year-long journey of creating Squid Game. Hwang Dong-hyuk, the creator of the show, recently shared his thoughts on finishing it finally. During an interview held at Cafe in Jongo on June the 30th, and well, the interview is pretty damning. It's obvious to see from the interview why the show cannot uphold the same standard of quality from the first season. That is because of one simple fact. The show was never supposed to extend past the first season. After the season first's premiere, Hwang lost 6 of his teeth while writing the script, and it would be declared that there would be no sequel. That is until Squid Game unexpectedly blew up internationally. Hwang, who gave everything he had, now had to simultaneously start production of Season 2 and Season 3, double the workload from Season 1. When asked in an interview, were there moments during Season 2 and 3 that you felt like you just couldn't go on? He replied, "It was such a long journey. Even while filming, I kept editing the script. It's such a vast story with so many characters that I started to notice flaws even in the completed script. Plus, I got inspiration from the actors, which led to more revisions. I should have rested after filming, but I kept writing. It wore me down physically. Every moment towards the end was exhausting." This answer tells us everything we need to know about the declining quality. But first, I need to explain the procedure of writing a story. There are 2 ways to write a story, bottom up and top down. A story that is written top down is a story that is written with the start, middle, and ending all in mind before being written down. It's a story with absolute precision and intention. A fantastic example is Attack on Titan. These types of stories often have the best foreshadowing. A story that is written bottom up is a story that is being written as it goes along. The show Dexter is a brilliant example of a bottom up written show. A problem associated with that type of writing style is that the writer might lose intention on what he wants to do with certain characters or plot. Squid Game was very clearly written with a bottom-up approach. It was written as it went along. Even while filming the season, Hwang Dong-hyuk was changing parts of the script. When you consider this with the fact that Hwang, the writer and the director of the show, lost 2 more teeth and dropped weight from the stress of producing season 2 and 3, it was obviously going to be a recipe for a season with mediocre writing. I am not going to dive too deeply into what's wrong with the last season and every little nuance. There are a sea of videos that you can watch that can do all of that better than I ever could. But with the added perspective of Hwang's condition and thoughts, I can give you guys a real reason why Squid Game ended with Ji-hoon sacrificing his life for 222's baby, and the details around the original ending that didn't make it to the final season and was scrapped. There are 2 reasons for the ending we got in the show. First, Hwang did not want to write season 2 or 3, and he made sure that he was not going to write season 4. This is corroborated in the interview I said earlier, in which the interview said Ji-hoon's death seemed like a firm statement that there won't be another season. Hwang giggled, "I want to tell a story through his journey, and with that there's no more Squid Game." Cate Blanchett's appearance doesn't imply another season. I also considered an ending where Ji-hoon sees another Dekaji man in America. But once I chose it to end with his death, I felt that was it. All the rumours about filming a Hollywood version in December, with me directing and Cate Blanchett starring, none of that is true. This interview really clarified the finality of this season. It's clear he doesn't want to do another season, and I assume if there is going to be a spin-off set in America, that there will be another director and writer behind it. The creator is obviously very tired from his last 6 years of writing Squid Game and doesn't desire to do another season. Being a director is not an easy job. Its 17-hour days aren't uncommon when you're a director. There's a lot of studies to corroborate this. Hwang Dong-hyuk wasn't just a director, he was also the script writer behind the show. These roles, although can be undertaken by one person, are oftentimes separate roles for separate people because of the workload. So when one person takes on the mantle for both roles, it can be quite strenuous, especially for a popular show such as Squid Game, combined with the working culture of South Korea. With all this in mind, Hwang's motivations for wanting to end Squid Game and its dropping quality becomes quite clear. But why did Hwang choose to make the main character sacrifice himself? This question was asked in the interview. Was Ji-hoon's death always part of the plan? He answered, "At first I imagined a happy ending. Ji-hoon survives and ends the whole thing, and goes to America to reunite with his daughter. But once I started writing, my thoughts changed. I considered what story I wanted to tell and looked at what was happening in the world. Since COVID, economic anxiety and inequality have gotten worse, threats of war are intensifying and nationalism on the rise. Looking at the world, we can't seem to stop heading in the wrong direction. I began asking myself, what kind of world are we leaving for the next generation? Many young people say that they're losing their dreams and hope, and I felt that the older generation should stop their greed and try to leave something better behind. That's why I introduced a child character, to symbolize the future and hope. I wanted Ji-hoon to sacrifice himself for that child. That was the message I wanted to deliver. The thematic shift involving the child also becomes more clear when you take into consideration South Korea's low birth rate. With a birth rate of 0.78%, it is the lowest in the world. South Korea is in a state where it's losing its hope of its future. South Korea's population could plummet by 85% within 100 years because of this issue. If things don't change within South Korea, it is likely we can see the collapse of it in our lifetime. Squid Game is a show that serves a narrative on the many socio-economic issues on South Korea. It makes sense why Hwang was driven to tell a story that concluded with its message to be about the future and hope. It's unfortunate that the execution of the ending was subpar, as the final left a bad taste for most viewers, mine included. But with the knowledge of Hwang's declining health, procedure of writing, and themes he wanted to illustrate, we can understand why Squid Game got the ending it did. Thanks for watching.